So any improvement with Gardner?
Yes. He is much better. He has not thrown yet. He will go out and do that today, and our thought is we'll have a complete player tomorrow. I want to make sure that part of his game is okay. He has swung, and that is okay. So I could use him at some point tonight, I really believe, but I'm not sure yet if I would put him in for defense.
That's the way he plays. He always plays hard. Going up against walls like that's something that you really can't necessarily prevent. Do you tell him anything when he does come back as far as trying to?
Well, that's why I think I'm trying to get it as close to 100% as we can, because instincts are always going to take over, and that's not going to go away. So my thought is if you rush it and he has a setback, then you're going to miss him for 3 or 4 more days, and that's not what I want. So he's definitely much better, but he's just going to have to play the way he plays.
What are the expectations with CC tonight?
To go out and pitch well. I don't see why he can't give you 80 to 90 pitches as long as he's pitching well. He threw 60 the other day. He was not off that long. And I think we'll get a good idea, how the brace helps him as we get into the game tonight.
Is there concern as far as how sharp he'll be, knowing that he hasn't actually faced hitters in a major league game in quite some time?
Yeah, I mean, there's always that concern. I think his experience probably helps him in that situation. It was good that we were able to do the simulated game and he was able to see hitters there, but there's always a little bit of concern there.
Sweeney.
Joe, in his last couple of starts before he got hurt, you made note of his velocity. And I know it's not all about that, but will you look at that specifically to tell you how he's doing tonight?
Yeah, I mean, that will let you have an idea of what the brace allows him to do in a sense. So I will obviously take a look at that, yes.
And do you have any decisions on your rotation for the weekend?
No, not yet. Sevy tomorrow. Yeah, not yet.
Kenny and Dan.
Joe, when you're going against a team like the Blue Jays that has been on this kind of hot streak for over a month, how hard or easy is it to not get frustrated by those results?
I have not sensed it in the room. I sense guys have been more worried about what we need to do. We've been playing pretty well as well. So I have not got that feeling. I think the big thing is that you focus on the game tonight. You worry about the Blue Jays, after tonight. And you go out and try to win a series tonight, and then we move forward.
Danny.
You haven't had a chance to use Dustin very much and to throw him out there. What are your expectations of him having not been in the lineup or in the outfield?
Well, I mean, he's accustomed to playing left field, so he's probably in the most comfortable position in the outfield that we could put him. He was playing in AAA and had felt pretty good and swung the bat pretty good. He has not had a bat in a few days, so I won't make too much of his hit at bats, but I think that he could play an important role moving forward with all these games that we're going to have in the next, 3 weeks, that he could be a factor.
Bill Witz and Bill Madden.
Is the plan for CC to just sort of cut loose like he had in those last? I mean, as far as throwing everything he can on the knee, or
I have not talked to him about this is what I want you to do. I think he's going to do what he's most comfortable doing, and that's what I want him to do. So if it feels good, you might see it. If he feels that he can't do it with him, you may not see it. The idea of the brace is to keep him really from hyperextending. So let's just see how it goes.
Joe, in regard to the Eovaldi loss, it still leaves you with 4 pretty consistent starters, depending on CC tonight or whatever. How do you feel about this staff in regard to the fact that if it takes 6 innings per start, at least 6 innings per start, isn't that what these guys have pretty much been doing?
Yeah, I mean, if we get 6 quality innings from our starters, I feel pretty good about the day. And even if it was 5, I still feel pretty good about the day, about the depth of our bullpen, as long as they're, able to pitch that day. So, I mean, we're not going to ask them to do too much. As I've said all along, I think the starters, they get you into the 7th inning and you're in the game. They've pretty much done their job. Now, if it's 9-9, that's a different story. But they've done their job, and they've been pretty consistent at that.
Ron and Mark.
Wasn't that also kind of the thought at the trading deadline? I mean, I know they probably Cash looked at price and people like that, but
Yeah, well,
considering what you don't have a dominant guy like that, but what you do have is
we've
maybe a
had
lot of
guys that have
people's
done a
minds
pretty good
enough.
job. Yeah, I mean, Tanaka was really the ace of the staff last year. He's been pretty good this year as well, and obviously he went through the time off that he had to have, but he's thrown the ball really pretty well for us. The other guys have stepped up. We've seen Michael throw the ball extremely well. We've seen Nova have a bunch of good starts and give us opportunities to win. We've seen Sevi throw the ball extremely well. I think CC, before he got hurt, those 3 starts were pretty good, before the day that his knee really bothered him. So these guys have done the job, and they've given us an opportunity to win.
Ron and Mark.
How important a priority is it the rest of the way to keep getting the starters an extra day off each turn?
It really depends on how hard they're worked and how they're feeling. We've done a lot of that this year just because of some of the health concerns that we've had for our starters and the innings that we felt that they could log. There'll be times that we might have to insert a 6th starter, but there will be times we probably won't.
Mark.
Joe, as we've gone through the past few weeks, and every time I've asked you about the Blue Jays haven't stopped losing, you've always said we still play them a bunch of times, so that's where we have to take care of it. Is it hard to look at these next 4 games after today as not being a little bigger than the other games? Because you do have your chance to take care of your own business against them?
Yeah, I think that you'd have to have your head in the sand to think that they're not important games. Obviously, it's the team that we're fighting for first place, and the importance of winning your division the way that the playoffs are set up, they're extremely important.
Is there any sense of, the last time they were here, they swept you, wanting to sort of protect your house, so to speak?
Well, I think the sense is you want to win the series. I think that's the biggest sense, whether you're there or you're here. That's the important thing. And, if you can win it, the series against them, it's a 4-game series, and that's always a little bit different than a 3-game series, then you've done your job.
How much does it help your team's confidence that you were able to go up there and take 2 of 3 when they were playing as well as they were?
Well, I think it helped us. I think it. Our pitchers did a good job in those games, and we had some key hits from Carlos and some of the other guys. So I think it helped.
Chat.
Joe, the decision on the rotation for the Toronto series, is that more trying to figure out about Tanaka or trying to figure out when to put in Warren or whoever it is?
I think it's just sitting down, discussing, where our guys are, with Larry after today and what's available and different possibilities that we could use. So it's a combination of everything. Yeah, part of it has to do with Tanaka and how he's doing. But you also have a Michael and a Nova in there as well.
Andrew and Sweeney.
Warren does pitch, how long could he go? Like, how many pitches? And he's gone 3 innings, I think the most.
Yeah, I would say that's about it.
Sweeney.
Would you treat this as the Toronto series as a playoff series in regards to if you lose the first couple of games, and maybe it puts a little bit more urgency on having to bring Tanaka back?
No, I think we'll have a decision probably made, sometime tomorrow what we're going to do before we even get into – because I think the bottom line is what's available and how your pitchers are feeling more than, pitching a Tanaka on a Sunday or not. I think it's more how they're doing because you want them to be effective.
He's still at least an option for you because he's only threw 104 last night.
Absolutely.
Meredith.
Joe, Alex has been swinging the bat really well the last 5 days, over 300, handful of home runs. Is it all the rest, or is it more than that?
I don't know. Sometimes when a guy goes through a hard time, you figure they're due to get hot, too. The rest might have really helped. It just seems like his swing is really short, and he's having he's putting good passes on the baseball. And whatever it is, I don't really care what it is, but it seems to be working.
With Warren, is it as simple as 15 pitches per start, or is it more complicated than that? Because an increase of 15 pitches per start, or not?
I don't know. Could you do 20 maybe this time of year when guys' arms are in better shape? Probably.
Mark.
Any other injury issues crop up after last night?
Any other injury issues? Not really. I mean, no more than we're dealing with. No.